Hello, dear friends. We begin our Sunday webinar, as always, with us here in studio. Michael Eichmann, Michael Sanevich, Boris Bedel-Tsarkovsky, Vinakur. Today's topic is how our desires determine our reality. We have many connections. 22 languages. As always, ask your questions. And to this question, how our desires determine
I can begin,
our life.
Of course. What can I say? It's true that our desires determine our lives. You see, the Creator created a desire to bestow because He Himself is a desire to bestow, to give pleasure. And we are desires to receive. So He, opposite of Him, He's a plus, created a minus in order to fulfill it. This minus needs to be gradually fulfilled, and not only, it also needs to be raised in such a way that it would be fulfilled from the Creator by everything that the Creator has, and not get fulfilled like a cup or glass that I see in front of me now, but filled with qualities of the Creator, to become similar to the Creator, to be pleased by what the Creator gives him, to know what he receives, so that he would desire to receive it himself even prior to the Creator giving him fulfillment. Creature is a desire, and it would want to be fulfilled, so that it would be willing to be grateful to the Creator, not because the Creator needs it, but because it would be fulfilled due to this gratitude even more, and like this until eternity. A state in which creature develops on its own, develops its desire, and is filled by the desire, and desires more and more, and is filled more and more. This desire is eternal, and in this way we realize that we exist in a continuous eternal movement. This movement gradually grows and never quits. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't lessen. On the opposite, with every little development of our desire and its fulfillment, we begin to desire even more and are fulfilled even more. And this is not in quantity but in quality. We are able to contemplate even deeper meanings of our universe, greater qualities of nature, the connections, the relationships between the different degrees. As a result, we come to a state when our attainment is eternal and perfect, and we're flowing through it. And to this, the creature must come. But it begins from a small, tiny, egoistic desire, the smallest there is, and then develops and evolves through still vegetative, animal, and human natures, and within a human being, until it develops to a desire of wanting to get to know the upper force. It's a very long period of development, but we are lucky, or lucky ones, because as a result we have floated through this entire stream of nature. And we are at a beginning of a generation that can realize and reveal for itself in which way it evolves and participate in its own evolvement. And not simply receive like small little creatures, and not even like regular people that get pleasure from riches and money and knowledge, but pleasures from connecting with a force that evolves us to ascend from the level of creature to the level of the creator and develop ourselves in such a way. Therefore, ahead of us, there's a very interesting period of life, and entering into a very interesting, evolved stage of development.
Are you going to read the questions now, or the articles? I'd like to remind that we gather
what I would say this: where the quality, where is this quality within me that receives? Not just a desire to receive, because that desire is common to all, a desire to receive how hungry I am, how much I am fulfilled, how much I desire to be fulfilled. A huge gathering of all these qualities. It's necessary for them to be ripened within me, and then truly my pleasure will be whole.
Please explain to Nasty from Moscow, which is probably a beginner. I don't understand whether my desires determine me, or I determine my desires.
That is correct. That is correct. It's a question. There are desires that exist within us which are very basic, and there are desires that are changed as soon as we come to Kabbalah.
So the basis is the desire, right? That's what leads. That's the basis. And when you come to Kabbalah, you begin to work with it, right?
Yeah, I begin to work with them. I begin to acquire new desires. And even upon the old desires, I acquire new attitude towards them. The way they're fulfilled, everything inside of me changes. The entire work in Kabbalah is work with our desires.
Oleg from Berlin is asking, why do I feel my desires without any kind of sensation that my desire are the creator?
Since he's not revealed for you, which is the why we are so poor, which is where all of our thoughts and desires come from. That's why you and I think that these thoughts and desires are us. But if we would feel somehow that these thoughts and desires are related to an external source, then we would have a question. What if we would receive a different type of thoughts and questions and desires?
Today we have a large group in Sochi. There was a large congress. Here we have a group there. Harka, Stavropol, a large group. Thank you guys that you're with us. You know, the Kabbalists call everything a desire, and you've had a few conversations with the scientists, and it was difficult for them to understand you, the fact that everything is a desire, everything that would see.
Of course it's a desire. Of course it's a desire. It's a gathering of atoms that are in certain connection with one another. It's a certain type of a desire. This table right here, how does it exist? It exists within me in the form of a desire. I'm not placing it inside of my head, or I'm not fitting this glass into myself. This is all felt within me in my desires. Aside from them, there's nothing else. Different types of desires are what we feel.
What does it mean that it's in me? I see it outside of me.
It's something that you feel inside of you. Even if these are stars or humongous, huge things and dimensions, you feel them inside of you, not outside of you. It seems to you that they're outside of you, but the sensations are inside of you.
So there are desires in me which are called inanimate and so forth.
Exactly, because within you there exists still vegetative and animal desires. You feel them inside of you in different combinations between one another, and that is what you call your world. You feel it inside of you. Outside of you there is nothing. Outside of you there are forces, and that act upon you and evoke within you these pictures. And all that you feel now outside of you, this exists inside of you.
Roman from Krasnodar is asking, there are different types of desire, inanimate, vegetative, animate. Which desires could be controlled by the Kabbalist? Only human desires or all levels of desires?
A Kabbalist doesn't control his desires in this way. It's important for a Kabbalist to direct correctly his desires, but in which way they will change within him, it doesn't matter. Let's say I want, with the help of correct usage of my desires, to ascend to the next degree, to the degree of the Creator. Creator uses desires for bestowal, and I also want to control my desires in that way.
Edward from your city, Vitebsk, asking, the role of the creation is to control its desire. Which free actions do we have toward our desires, which I reveal throughout my life?
We can control all of our desires, but only if we direct them towards the good of all others, of everything that outside of us. That is the purpose of controlling the desires. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to. Otherwise we would be like regular people. If we wish to be Kabbalists, then Kabbalists simply act. The method is very simple. It's not easy to grasp it. However, we need to simply use all of our desires for the good, for bestowal, towards connection with others. Then we'll be able to control them with the help of the upper light. Otherwise they will control us, the way it's happening now.
Another question. What evokes the desires? What gives it the strength? What determines in Kabbalah whether it's going to be realized and in which form?
Desires are awakened from above, the upper light or the Creator that acts upon us in a smaller or greater intensity, in relation to which within me awakens either greater or lesser desires.
Different desires, right?
Depending on this light. Once again, a desire is common when the light shines. It draws within me these granulated desires, still vegetative, animal, human, and according to all those degrees I begin to feel myself.
Are we talking about any desires?
Any desires. What doesn't matter.
What gives it the strength to the desire, that the desire becomes strong?
The intensity of the light that shines on him.
So if it's closer, then it's stronger, right? So I have a desire to enjoy watching a movie. There's a movie outside of me. Someone made it, but the pleasure I get in the outside from the watching it. So there has to be a picture outside a picture, which I look at, but the fulfillment is internal, right?
Why do you want to confuse yourself with this? I won't be able to explain to people this correct point of view or perception, I won't be able to. You know yourselves how difficult it is. A person needs to go through, many months needs to go by until one needs to feel this correctly. And we're talking here about beginners. Let's be realistic. Otherwise, people will be confused. You're not asking for your sake, but for their sake, right?
In that case, we have how do I use my desire to breathe for the sake of others?
I don't know. We can talk about this. I think we need to change topic if these are the questions that you're asking. Kabbalah explains very simply. Creator created a desire to receive. Creator himself is a desire to bestow, to bring pleasure. And he wants to to develop this desire to receive so that it itself would want to receive from the Creator. That's first. And second, to begin correct yourself in relation, in similarity to the Creator, the way this creation, this desire begins to receive influence from the Creator, together with this influence, with this fulfillment, with this pleasure he begins to feel, from whom he receives. This is a little trick from the Creator, because by fulfilling a desire that wants to be fulfilled, he fulfills them and at the same time passes on to them his quality. And then, within the desires, awakens a desire to be similar to the Creator. Let's say, what is the similarity between you feeding your cat or dog and it eats everything without any shame? Or you feed a person, and when he receives it from you, he starts feeling a little uncomfortable. He gets shy and blushes, and maybe somehow he wants to give it back to you. He's on such a degree of his desire that together with this gift, he feels a relationship to you. Within a cat or a dog, you're not changing qualities, but within a person, you do. He wants to give back to you. He wants to return it to you. Why? Because you, together with this food that you give him, you pass on to him this quality to bestow, and within him awakens this quality to bestow aside from the quality to receive. This is what the Creator does with us. So it turns out that in this way we are ruined somehow, are damaged. We begin to think about how to bestow, what to do with each other. This is a quality of people, humans. Animals don't have these qualities, and a person that develops, he feels a quality of shame, and he needs to either justify his reception. Let's say we receive from the society, from government, and we tell ourselves that this is our right, maybe by law, or I'm in retirement, or I'm ill, I'm owed. And in this way, I'm not ashamed, and I can accept it without any issues, and maybe even can look at myself as in a lofty state. Or maybe I'm not obligated to receive this, and then I begin to be ashamed, I begin to blush, and within me fulfillment evokes not pleasure, evokes not fulfillment, but suffering. And this is how the Creator gradually raises us, educates us. We are not yet feeling these states sharply, but we need to come to them gradually. A person who studies Kabbalah, he begins to feel that the Creator, that he fulfills him, he leads him places him under various kinds of problems, and then it was revealed that a person can resolve these problems, and that's how cannot resolve these problems, and a person then has no choice but to begin to be tied to the Creator. Initially he sees that he has nowhere to run, and then with time he sees that it's good that he has nowhere to run. In this way he trains his ego to be tied to the Creator, and then influences that come about, he realizes that they come from the Creator. And then he feels that whatever the developments that occur in him are wonderful, are great, and he starts receiving from the Creator this quality of bestowal, where the Creator influences us, and that his nature, a person's nature, that he never felt this need to bestow in love, but only to hate and receive, all of a sudden there occurs within him these qualities of bestow and love, completely opposite to me. And it turns out that they awake within me under the influence of what I receive from the Creator, influenced by the Creator. And here a person begins to want to change himself. He begins to ask on his own, to ask the Creator, so that the Creator would influence me, so that I would become similar to you. And on and on. And in relation to this, he starts acquiring new qualities. I will love, I will bestow, I will be similar to you. Why does he feel this way? Because he feels that these qualities are perfect. And they fulfill him. He begins to feel that these qualities are above our earthly limitations. Qualities of bestowal, they give one a sensation of exit to the next level of existence. I will not die, I will not lose anything. On the opposite, if I will bestow and exit myself, then I will begin to feel that I'm this constant motion, constant development, constant fulfillment, and I will never feel that I need something, and then I will want to bestow more and more. That is what I want, and my desires, as it is said, are matched with my opportunities, and it's called perfection. Hosts, Alexander from Russia asks, awakening of the desire towards spirituality is called luck, and the Creator decides when this desire awakens. The awakening of the desire towards spirituality, he asks.
That comes from the Creator, but of course, for the person, it's a lottery. It's a luck.
The Creator determines when it awakens.
The upper light affects the person. It determines when it appears, that desire, yes.
Question from Sochi. If my desires will be above human desires, then I will begin to see in the world spiritual phenomena. If my desires will become greater than human desires, then I will see in the world spiritual phenomena.
You will begin to see not only spiritual ways, but also the forces which affect you, which in our world, and you will see the outcomes of those those forces, and you will be able to be in interrelationships with these net of forces. Practically, you will be able to determine the future.
She was one of the organizers of the Congress in Sochi. So thank you for Ksenia for this question, and that she's such a wonderful person. Okay. Another question. Victor is asking, in order to bestow, there needs to be someone to whom bestow to, and what to bestow. Is this a problem for Kabbalists? What does he give and to whom he gives?
When the Kabbalist gets the opportunity to bestow, he discovers that the only he can only bestow to the Creator, and there is no problem of bestowing. The Creator purposely shows a person where and how he can bestow to guide the Creator's desire further. Basically, he becomes the Creator's hand.
Can you give an example of bestowal?
Bestowing to the Creator is bestowing to humans. First of all, it's a dissemination of the methodology of coming closer to the Creator. This is something, the best that you can do to the humanity and to the Creator. That way you give to their hands, ability to receive the upper light, abundance, to fulfill themselves and to fulfill the Creator.
I want to clarify. You are doing this for many years. You have hundreds of thousands of students. It's clear that for the entire day you bestow to them, you give to them. But people like you, you're one of many. But you're alone in this. But what about other people who don't have students?
He doesn't have it. Then he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have any ability to move any further, to advance. He has to have at least few people around him, and the best 10 people.
So you're saying that every person begins to study Kabbalah needs to get ready himself to be an instructor?
I think it's inevitable that when the person begins to be raised by the Creator, as it says in the freedom of free will, in the article free will, it brings the Creator brings the person to the society where he is able to grow and advance. He tells him, take this. He puts his hand to the good development.
So I need to find myself, let's say, somewhere in Siberia?
You shouldn't do anything. You will end up in such an environment.
Let's have a few people around them, and I begin to tell them about the Creator. This means I bestow to them?
No, it doesn't mean that you have to tell them something. You, along with you, they will study, and you will help each other. You will build this common net, which the Creator will fill, and by receiving from Him, you will bring contentment to Him.
So by uniting with others, with my friends in a group, that means I bestow to them?
Yes, of course.
What do I give to them?
You create together the vessel, a common vessel, and you will receive the fulfillment to that vessel in order to bring the contentment to him.
Question from Amsterdam. How does a Kabbalist know that there's an all common good, it smells like communism, and wants to bring everyone towards that desire?
No, such thing doesn't exist. It's impossible to make somebody happy without desire toward it. That's why the Kabbalah is called the desire to receive. There is abundance, upper abundance, and the Creator is the source of it, and we must develop our desires properly in order to be fulfilled. That's why our science is called the science of reception, the science of Kabbalah. No, there's no transgression in spirituality. We need to ask ourselves, we need to convince ourselves, convince our friend that exactly the receiving in order to bestow is the perfection, because it's infinite, because it has no limits, because it's in order to bestow. To receive in order to pass to others. I become a conduit. I become like a pipe, and everything passes through me. And nevertheless, it's all mine, and I pass it further. And to that degree, I get emptied of it in order to pass it to others.
Question: to get close to the Creator is pleasant or dangerous?
No, getting closer to the Creator cannot be dangerous, because there are very clear laws. You cannot near Him until you are able to near Him. You must make of yourself, according to your corrections, you approach the Creator. Your personal correction determines your closeness to the Creator.
Beginners are always asking, let's say there's no group yet. It's clear that in the group I need to bestow and influence others, raise importance somehow, like you said. All the other time when, like most people, when most people meet once a week or less.
I don't understand. I'm sure those that right now at the lesson have some kind of computer that can watch the lesson.
It's simpler today.
It's simpler today because it's not like when I started studying 40 years ago.
So there's no need to meet every day.
You don't have to meet 5-10 minutes.
How can I bestow? I want to be similar to the Creator.
Only during the lesson. You don't need anything else right now. You just need to study. It's to study once a week together, like Rabash has told us. Rabash told us easily. Thursday evening, you gather together for the gathering of friends. You read something. You read an article which I wrote, and. And the rest of the time you only study in the morning lesson, and also the morning lessons, including to themselves the discussions and so forth.
Okay, but the rest of the time there's a meeting once a week, daily. Let's say there's at least 1 hour of the lesson, and then what? Family, work. How can I bestow there to the Creator?
As usual, nothing.
Simple. It's like dead time, just to work.
Yes, you will be where you are, but just to act so that the people would not hate you. Be a kind person. Nothing more. You don't have to show. You don't have to display what you do, that you study. Only with a group.
Question from Arthur. How can I trust my feelings and desires that exist in this egoistic world?
There are no discrepancies. All the desires are egoistic. All the thoughts are egoistic. The only thing we need to do is to attract the upper light, which we gradually discover all the flaws in the desires and in the thoughts, and gradually we'll be able to correct them, because the person cannot, in his egoistic nature, hold something that harms him.
What is the connection between desire, thought, and mind?
Desire,
these are different definitions, right? What is the difference?
Yeah, those are different things. Desire is the main thing, which is called the heart in a person. Thoughts, they exist in order to sort correctly, to direct our desires. Therefore, we are made of heart and the mind. The mind we need to deal with the desires.
So let's have a desire to eat well. All of a sudden the thoughts of a nice restaurant appear, so I have a desire to receive, and then the thoughts appear, and the mind is...
mind and conscience are the same thing.
So mind and thoughts are the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's either short memory or long memory. The same thing.
So what comes first and what comes second?
First comes heart, then mind. So the mind, yes, the mind serves the heart. Only desires is the main thing.
Question: which desires are obstacles on the path?
Don't fear any desires and don't try to fight them. It's all being like a Don Quixote. The only thing is you need to do is to attract the upper light. He created those desires, and he corrects them and directs them. Only the upper light. we don't expand, we don't suppress desires, we don't develop all sorts of desires of bestowal and love in us. Nothing, absolutely nothing. The only thing we need to do is to attract the upper light in order for it to do it. It's a big mistake thinking that we can do ourselves something. We only confuse ourselves that way.
Question from Elena: how can we exist the entire day feeling suffering of all other people?
Nothing you can do. We will gradually correct. We will gradually attract the upper light, which will correct things. And all those people that seem to us, they do something to other people. It's nothing but imprint of our own desires.
So I bring suffering to someone.
Yes, that's me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be just existing in this world.
So the worst that I see, or the worst I see in the world, exists within me?
Yes, just because I have it inside of me, it also exists in the outside of me.
Question from Yuri: how can I be with my wife if I constantly think about the Creator, and she's envious, she's jealous, but within her there's also the Creator?
Explain that to her. That's for you. It's the same. Those are the same things.
Well, but really, in this situation, according to books, there is the Creator inside of it. Behind all people, there's the Creator, right?
So explain that to her, that you love her because there's a Creator behind her, but she's not going to be happy about it because you love the Creator, which is behind her, but not her.
So how can we shift Him between us?
Oh, come on, don't be small kids, guys. Who envies, who is jealous of somebody? I don't see such problems.
This desire to relate everything to the one force that created everything, is that a correct desire?
Those are correct intentions, yes.
It's a type of a game that the Creator plays with me. He places some obstacles before me.
Everything that I see around myself is the world, which was created purposely. I have such a picture upon me through which I need to discover the Creator.
How can I understand that I'm revealing the Creator, discovering?
The qualities of love and bestowal which surround you.
So behind all objects I need to see qualities of love and bestowal?
Yes.
Question: what is reality in Kabbalah?
Reality in Kabbalah is called the true desire of mind, which is at certain moment, at this very moment, works, and the light which evokes it. Only two components in the creation, and we can regulate the connection or the intensivity of the connection between those two elements.
When do you recommend to start playing this game to see behind all the objects in this world the Creator, this upper force?
The Creator? Always. There is none else besides Him. I want to see it always and forever. And why do I need to wait for another moment?
There are first stages. Firstly, to see that behind all object there is this upper force, and then the second stage is to justify it and say that it's good that does good.
Yes, perhaps you're right. You can divide it into two stages: the aspiration to discover, and the second justification of it. To love that force, to be connected to that force.
How can you tie the soul into the quality of bestowal?
That will appear in you on its own when that upper light will affect you in such a way when you would want to be outside of yourself and to bestow.
It's difficult to tie this force, all the objects that behind them. Let's say we'll want to bestow all of a sudden.
Those are feelings, dear. You will want to. Right now you think with your head, and then you will feel with heart.
Though this chasm exists all of a sudden I begin to feel a heart.
Yes, you will begin to feel that invocation of the heart.
Question. How in the desire to bestow can be included a desire to receive if this breaks the spiritual law? Also, another question. Please clarify, within a desire to receive, there is a desire to bestow?
Yes, because desire to receive is created by the Creator. The Creator has the desire to bestow through the 4 stages of direct light. He creates the desire to receive.
So he asks how in a desire to receive there can exist a desire to bestow.
Such thing doesn't exist. Desire to bestow created desire to receive out of nothing. That's the only thing that is a creation. Everything else is the derivatives of it.
But from New York, what stages can I consider to evoke within myself this desire to bestow? Is it during sleep? Is it during study? Rav, the best is that you can do is during study. The most dependable correction is during the study in the group.
Question. There's none else besides him as a popular mantra, religious mantra. What's the difference of effort of a religious person and effort of a Kabbalist to reveal the love that surrounds?
Rav, do you see? It depends on your goals. If your goal is self-fulfillment, or your goal is love and bestowal through the creature towards the Creator, what do you desire from studying Kabbalah?
With intention.
Yeah, what do you want? Do you want to receive? You won't be able to receive here. Go to other methods, meditations, and others, and learn there how to feel better. Yeah, that can happen. In Kabbalah, no. Kabbalah, you'll sweat and perhaps even suffer until you learn how to correctly guide, control yourself by evoking the upper light.
So here we have even more, besides the fact that I am a Kabbalist and I try to see there's none else besides him, I also need to ask myself, why do I need to discover it, right?
Naturally, because you're raising a human being from yourself. How? Why? You're not doing this to spend an evening nicely or get pleasure from something so that I feel nice right now. The question in Kabbalah is, where is the truth? And for its sake, I'm willing to sacrifice my immediate pleasures. Go against it. I'm always weighing these things. This is my struggle. I constantly weigh, is the truth more important for me than pleasure or not? And then I place above myself a screen and act for the sake of bestowal. And when I begin to act for the sake of bestowal, despite of pleasure, then I begin to feel that in bestowal there's a pleasure that's 620 times greater than in reception.
And in general, does the person have such an abilities to control his desires, to make those calculations?
The Creator does everything.
So where the truth is and where...
Yeah, it's all possible. The only thing is not to be bashful and to correctly realize this in the group. A group is the greatest obstacle. A person is unable to get close to others. He cannot imagine that this closeness is what will give him this amazing result. There are people that are ready to get close to others, but for them it's like a regular one. But a spiritual closeness is difficult for everyone. Which is why you should understand that here there's no one that's worse or better. Everyone needs to go through these stages, clenching their teeth when they interconnect with others in the group, and hang on tight and not run away from all kinds of group activities, and despite their desires, through their efforts, they get such a result.
Yeah, from Sweden. When I start studying Kabbalah, can I control which desires are invoked in me and which...
No, this depends on the root of the soul, which is why this isn't something you can control. But why? Why would you even want to? On the opposite, however, light from above affects my desires. In relation to that, I will be developed.
A lot of questions. As a Kabbalist, do you control the thoughts, and how do they come to you?
I express my readiness. The rest, the light does.
Only the effort, right, is demanded of us and nothing else. Another question from Frankfurt. Why everything is inside of me, inside of my desires, and ability to control it, those such that they're not mine?
Of course. All of the opportunities to control myself exist in the group. In the measure that the group is ready to connect and unite and invoke this upper light. A group is a focusing lens, is a lens. Not a glass lens, but a magnetic one. It focuses the light that goes through it or disperses it. This is a group. If I want to evoke upon myself this upper light for it to influence me, then I need to be the most active in the group. Then I will begin to influence its diaphragm, let's say, this magnetic diaphragm that will focus this light, and that will in turn hit me.
Another question. Which desires exist in spirituality besides the desire to connect to others and spirituality?
None, because we are coming out of this shattered vessel called Adam, and we need only unification between us, which is why don't be smart. I don't know in which way I need to connect with others and how, with which qualities. I simply need to place myself under the influence of the upper light. I cannot be smarter than the upper light because I evoke its influence so that it would correct me. How can I be higher than the point of my correction? I simply ask. That's why everything is attained through prayer.
Maybe a question. What to do if you feel emptiness and you can't escape that sensation?
Once again, the group. When I feel a great emptiness and I have nothing else, I have nothing next to me, then I take a book, the preface to the Wisdom of Kabbalah or the study of the 10 Sefirot. There everything's spoken in a very dry language, and I begin to read and try to understand what's written there. This takes me to a nice normal level of perception of reality, perception of Kabbalah, and then from there gradually I descend to other materials, Shamati and others, to Rabash's articles.
Another question. How one desire can evoke the other? Is there any example in our world of that?
A light awakens a desire, gives birth to a desire. as we learn in the 4 stages of direct light, and then begins to develop it from inanimate to vegetative to animal to human. This is the development of the light. How does it develop it? By passing to this desire, its quality of bestow, and this quality of bestow, love and connection that comes into a desire. It helps the desire to be more multifaceted and developed, and at the same time connected, which is why they're born atoms and molecules and all kinds of chemical connections and reactions, and then through them, through that, there's vegetative nature that exists due to light, and then the carbon structures of the animalistic degrees. These things exist above matter. That's what differs a human being from animal, the thoughts and desires.
Tell us, can desires be awakened in a person which can be on the way towards spirituality?
Everything is necessary. You just need to place yourself under the influence of the upper light.
How is it to put yourself under influence?
To study with the group, to try to unite with them, to evoke through this lens that we spoke about, the upper light that would affect me and the group and all of us together, and in this way would constantly develop us. On one hand, my actions need to be very active in evoking this upper light. On the other hand, it's very passive because I myself don't change. The upper light changes me.
But it somehow happens indirectly. It's not like I just studied in a group and all of a sudden it happens to me.
It doesn't matter when it happens. You act particularly to evoke this upper light, and this light knows how to change you.
So it's not the fact that I feel it that will feel it.
No, it's not a fact, but there will come a time when you will feel it. This is an accumulative process. Results are felt later, after a certain accumulation that occurs from above.
It's not like in sports when you work out and you see the results.
You don't always see results. How many years did you work out for until you saw the results?
Well, a few weeks, few days, you will see the results. Otherwise, where would you get the fuel to continue working out?
I don't know. Still, not right away. Not that I lifted a dumbbell and all of a sudden I'm a strong man. And here we can't even ask about these things because none of us know the depths of our egoisms. But we need to believe in our teachers that this change does occur. We need to understand that this is an accumulating process.
So now I put myself under the influence of light. I studied in the group, thus I brought the light upon myself, and I will see the result in few years, few months, and as a result, I will have the desire to care for them, and right?
Yeah. Yes, you'll see a group that it's a necessary tool for attaining the Creator, that is particular in it, in the group. You attain the Creator, not inside of yourself, and then you will change your attitude towards it. And this occurs gradually. All of a sudden, there will occur a certain movement towards it, like towards a loved one. Because all of a sudden, you found a place where the Creator is revealed.
Toward them is whom? In general?
Yes, in general.
Some
It's not
particular
towards
people?
No, it's not towards particular people. It's in general. A group is something we begin to feel inside of ourselves as a spiritual vessel. It's not particular friends.
Victor from Munich. And if I have some foolish desire, which the flaws of is obvious of those desire, what can I do? What can help me in that state?
Nothing helps. If you need to go and drink, fulfill yourself with some desires, then go and do it, and then return to fulfilling your soul. It's better than you would be sitting there and eating yourself over this.
No, I won't go, and I'm strong, and for weeks like that, right? But that's within the frames of the laws, right?
The law is very simple. Am I hurting someone with this or not? Only that matters. If I'm not harming anyone, then I can do it.
The short question, if the entire world is inside of me, then who am I?
You contain within yourself the entire world. The world that you imagine for yourself.
So, me as a creature, right?
This creation is the entire world.
Another discrepancy of the word desire. Everything expressed through desire. The sick people want to be healthy, and poor people want to be rich. What does it mean that I want something?
I desire to want to be fulfilled by that which I feel right now as a lack, deficiency.
And if he wants to be healthy, but he doesn't succeed, that means he doesn't really want to?
We're not talking about realization. You're asking me what is a desire. Desire is to be fulfilled within that sensation in which I currently feel a deficiency.
Which desires do come true?
All good desires are realized, come true.
Good desires for me, for whom?
Good desires are those that are not only not harmful, but those with which you can give pleasure to others in a way that is good for them.
And the rest of desires, the Creator doesn't react to them?
The other desires is for us to understand what are good desires.
I know that today there is a virus of loneliness. They try to find a pair for years. A person has a desire to create a family, but he doesn't succeed. He's not getting it from from above. What can we tell him?
We tell him to develop his desire. He needs to understand what he wants. He needs to understand why he needs a family. He needs to seek a correct realization of his desire.
The Creator feels that he wants to create a family and everything?
Creator is the one that formulates all of his desires.
So that's the thing. Who should I plead to if he does everything?
Naturally, all the desires need to come true in the best of ways for the person, the most optimal way.
So it can be that the Creator gives this obstacle and the person has to leave it and just give it to the Creator. Just come to the Creator. Come close to the Creator.
Naturally, this is the most obvious solution to all problems.
And whether that desire will be fulfilled or not, I just have to put it aside.
This is not up to us. We need to evoke upon ourselves the most intense influence of the upper light to speed up our development, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but where we can get strength to agree to it?
But what can you do?
Nothing, that's for sure.
You evoke upon yourself a greater strength, force of your development. You speed up your development, and at the same time with that, you make this development more good, more kind, because you're the one that's evoking this force.
So it's worthless to ask from Creator something.
Yeah, these appeals for yourself are absolutely harmful to you.
Even the most necessary desires?
By necessary, they mean necessary for existence. Yes, if they're necessary for your existence, then you can ask.
I can't even not ask them, they just appear in me.
Well, the fact that they're awakened is one thing, but to appeal with them is something else.
When a person approaches the correction, the state of he achieves the state of positive, happy, right?
Or the opposite. We are advancing in a stop-and-go motion all the time through these amplitudes, up and down, up and down. That's how we advance. But I am completely confident that we're in the right path. You will soon discover this in action. Everything will be good. How are we meeting next week?
We'll see either it's going to be recorded or we will organize it. Your wishes for the week.
My wishes are together we'll be preparing for the Italian Congress. Please, those of you that can be, please be at the morning lessons. Try to be together with us.
Or to download them.
Or download them and watch. Every morning lesson is a step forward towards the spiritual journey. Good luck. I hug you all. Be well.